Hello Davison, Superintendent Kevin Brown here with another edition of Brown's Blog. We've been focusing this year on our 2020 bond, and we've talked to you on a number of these blogs and given you kind of the history and why we think we need to pass a facilities bond and the steps involved and the kind of things that we'd like to do. We thought that what we'd now do is kind of transition into giving you a first-hand look at some of the facilities throughout the district and talk a little bit specifically about some of those things we'd like to have done when we pass our bond in March. So our bond, remember, is really focused on three areas. Renovations here at Davison High School. It's an aging building, about 50 years old, still running the original boilers, in need of some roof repair and replacement. Security, which we know is very important throughout the district. We want to focus on things like site lighting and secure entry and other things that add safety and security for our students and staff. And then instructional technology is the third area that we really want to focus on with this 2020 bond. So come with me. We're going to take you on a little tour, and we're going to look at some of the different things that we consider to be critical needs, security issues, or needs, and talk a little bit about instructional technology as well. A couple of the safety issues that we wanted to talk about today are here at Davison High School and really throughout the district. One of the things that we would like to do is replace all of our exterior site lighting. We're right now, this is about 7 o'clock in the morning at Davison High School, and even though we have site lighting in the parking lots and around the buildings, it's really not adequate to illuminate the surroundings for the high school the way we would like to have it. I mean, we have kids being dropped off in cars, we have buses coming through here, we have students parking and walking across. We would really like to have a better illuminated site, and not just here at the high school but throughout the entire district. But this is a good example of, even though we have adequate lighting, it's not truly it doesn't really illuminate the site to the degree that we would like to have it, and it's still quite dark out here early in the morning when kids are getting dropped off for school. So that's one of the issues that we hope to address with our bond. We'd like to replace all of our site lighting throughout the entire district and all of our facilities with new energy efficient LED lights. The nice thing about that is that the energy efficient LED lights will save us money over time and eventually pay for themselves. The other thing that I think you're going to get a sense for while we're out here is site circulation. You know, one of the things that we've looked at as far as a safety issue or a safety concern for our bond is how traffic moves through each of our sites. Here at the high school, you can see we have cars dropping off, we have buses coming through, we have students walking from the parking lot. It's not an ideal situation. What we would really like to do is rework the circulation around this building and around some of our other buildings as well, specifically the middle school in Hahn, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, so that we separate our parent drop-off, our bus drop-off, and our student parking to increase safety for our students and staff. So those are just a couple of things that we wanted to point out here at Davison High School. Obviously, the lighting could use some improvement, and site circulation is also an area of concern. Another safety and security feature that I'd like to talk briefly about today is the fire alarm system at the high school. As we pointed out in some of the forums that we had, the high school is a 50-year-old building. The fire alarm system here is also 50 years old and is in serious need of upgrade. These old panels and systems are just not as reliable as we'd like them to be, and they need to be updated as part of our 2020 bond. Another area of safety, security, an area of concern that we have is here at the southeast corner of Davison High School and what would be the northwest or northeast corner of the alternative ed. While the doors between these two buildings are locked throughout the day, we do open these doors about 5 times each day to allow kids to pass from one building to the next. What we would really like to do is construct a corridor connecting these two buildings which would prevent anybody from accessing the building through these doors when they open during the school day for class change. Another area that's a safety concern for me and those of us in the district is right here at the Hahn Middle School. We're right now behind Hahn Middle School, and this is the parent pickup drop-off loop that we currently have. It's really a congested mess. We have cars double parked throughout the lot. We have cars lined up all the way down what is Clark Street. We have cars over filling parking spaces at Regional Park. We have students walking. We have, trying to get to these cars as we have traffic moving in and out and around the building. This is probably one of the most congested and places in the district where we really need to work on our site circulation. The parking lot itself is in very poor condition. And so there's a lot of areas to take care of here. This is one of those things that it's not only, I think it's not only a safety issue for the district, but it's also a critical need. We need to fix this. As you'll see in a lot of the footage that we're going to show you, the traffic is not only congested, it's backed up, it's intermixed with pedestrians, and it's just not definitely not an ideal situation. And I think we can do a lot of things here to kind of make it easier, faster, smoother, safer for parents to drop off and pick up their children. One of the district's real critical needs is here at Davison High School. Behind me, you can actually see our 3 boilers, boiler 1, 2, and 3. We are truly in the belly of the beast here right now at Davison High School. These are the systems that heat the buildings. Like the high school itself, all of these boilers are 50 years old. They are the original boilers that were built and installed when the high school was built almost 50 years ago. So these are items that are way beyond their expected life and really do need to be replaced. Each of these boilers is about $1 million. So we're looking at about $3 million right here. And one of the things we'd like to do with our bond proceeds, if we pass or when we pass our March 10, 2020 bond, is replace all 3 of these high school boilers, as well as other boilers throughout the district that are also aging and beyond their life cycle as well. Another critical need of the district are many of our buildings' roofs. We're here today on the roof of Davison High School, and this building, like I've said many times, is almost 50 years old. And while there has been some work done to the roof, it's in need of repair and actually replacement, as is our alternative education building and Seipel Elementary. So one of the things we would like to do when we pass our March 2020 bond is to replace the roofs at those buildings where that is a critical need. The district also has critical needs with regards to just basic remodeling. A lot of our buildings are aged, and our facilities, of course, are getting outdated. This happens to be a bathroom. This is a boys' restroom at Davison Middle School. And you can see that the sinks, the tiles, just the entire restroom itself really needs some tender loving care. We're missing a urinal here. We have pipe work that needs to be done. We have plumbing fixtures that need to be replaced. And this is fairly common as your buildings age, that these types of things are going to need to be replaced. So a lot of our critical needs at our buildings, at the high school, the middle school, and throughout the district really revolves of just basic remodeling and updating. Part of our 2020 bond is going to be for instructional technology. Instructional technology encompasses a lot of different things. It could be desktop computers, such as we have here in the High School Media Center. In Davison, a lot of our instructional technology has to do with Chromebooks. We've seen a huge expansion in the number of Chromebooks that are being used throughout our district. One of the problems with Chromebooks or computers or any type of device is a replacement cycle because the devices wear out, they become outdated very quickly. 5 years is about the typical lifespan of a device before it becomes outdated. And so one of the things we'd like to do with some of our instructional technology funds from our 2020 bond would be to update some of these devices and to assist our tech department in their replacement cycle. Because this bond is going to be taken in series, we can have a couple of device rollouts about 3 years apart, which would assist tremendously in the replacement of all of these different devices that the district has. Other parts of instructional technology that may not be so obvious are things like infrastructure. Telephones. Believe it or not, our telephone system is so old that it can't even be updated anymore. So that's something that needs to be replaced. Public address systems, our PA system, also needs to be updated. So there are a lot of components of technology, devices, infrastructure, and other things you don't normally think of, like telephones and PAs, that we want to try to be able to address with this March 2020 bond. One of the biggest features of our 2020 bond is a new high school auditorium. For those of you that have been in here recently, whether it's for an elementary music concert, a high school play, a middle school event, you know that oftentimes the auditorium is not big enough. We don't have enough seating, and we have people that end up standing in the aisles because it's just too small. So in addition to the auditorium being too small, there are some other issues that we have with it. The design is not great because the pitch of the seats makes it difficult for patrons to see depending on where they're seated for any particular show. The acoustics aren't great. In fact, we did our first bond forum in this auditorium, and the weather outside was kind of nasty that day, and the marching band was actually practicing in the band room, and we could hear them pretty clearly through the walls as we were trying to conduct our bond forum. If you talk to the district's music teachers, they would tell you that we have a lot of issues with sound, with lighting, with the rigging up here behind the stage. We have issues with the storage spaces in the auditorium. And the reality is that, like the rest of the high school, this part of the building is also 50 years old. And we really need to do upgrades and renovations in order to make this a great usable facility once again. So our goal would be to recapture this space, but to build a new auditorium as part of that 2020 bond. One of our critical needs or upgrades that we really need to see at Davison High School is right here in our DTV studio. Our DTV program is second to none. They are one of the greatest programs in the state, actually one of the best programs in the country, as is exemplified by the numerous awards that they have won over the years. But the real problem, though, is the DTV studio itself is really nothing more than an old storage space at Davison High School. The ceilings are too low, the space is cramped, and they really make do with facilities that don't really adequately provide them the needs that they have for this outstanding program. So we'd really like to be able to build our DTV program a new studio with our 2020 bond.